The blizzard screamed like a wounded beast. Zria clutched the tiny bundle closer to her chest, her pale violet skin almost translucent against the wind's fury. The planet Elowin was beautiful in spring, but they had landed in the heart of its winter, a season known to swallow entire colonies. Her transport pod had malfunctioned mid-drop. 1 second she was gliding into orbit with her infant daughter nestled safe in stasis. The next, static, fire, smoke, crash. Now, stranded among the crystalline ice plains, she staggered across snow that shimmered like powdered glass. Each step was agony. Her boots weren't made for this terrain, and the cold pierced through them like needles. She looked down at her daughter's face, blue-tinted and motionless. Not yet, she thought. Don't take her from me. Not now. She dropped to her knees beside a half-buried ice mound. Wind howled through a shattered tree like a mourning flute. Her suit's energy core blinked red, dying. And so was the warmth wrapped around her child. She had no medicine, no shelter, no hope, so she did the only thing she could. She sang. Chapter 2. The Song of Solari. The song was ancient, older than her people's history. A Solari cradle hymn, passed from voice to voice across stars and centuries. It was said to soothe pain, to ward off death. It began low, a hum under her breath. Then it grew, rich with the resonance of her people's dual-tone vocal cords, weaving high and low notes in haunting harmony. Lana Shivari Elon. Her voice trembled, but she kept singing, pressing her daughter's limp form to her chest. Her own heat had long stopped being enough. The snow clung to her hair like crystal roots, freezing strands into brittle threads. She saw hallucinations, shapes in the storm. Her vision narrowed to a tunnel of white. But her song rose, and someone heard it. Chapter 3. The Stranger. The snow parted with a sudden crack, a strange disruption in the storm's rhythm. Zria blinked, eyes watering and frozen. A figure approached, wrapped in thick armor and thermal fur. Not Solari. Too tall. Too broad. And that face. Pale peach skin, a square jaw dusted with frost, and eyes that burned with something between disbelief and urgency. Human. He dropped to his knees beside her without hesitation. You're alive. His voice was muffled by his breath mask. Are you the one who was singing? Zria couldn't answer. Her lips were blue, her throat raw. All she could do was pull the baby out, trembling. She's cold, she rasped. He didn't waste a second. With practiced movements, he activated a compact heat capsule from his satchel. Thermal pod. Emergency field version. Thank God I brought it. He cradled the infant, placed her inside the capsule, and engaged the shield. A hum rose as warmth flooded the interior. Zria slumped sideways. The sudden release of tension took her strength with it. Her body fell limp in the snow. No, hey, stay with me, the human barked. He hoisted her over his shoulder, light for her size, and began trudging toward a distant ridge where smoke curled upward. Behind them the wind still howled. But the song was gone. Chapter 4. Shelter. The structure was little more than a research outpost. Half buried, barely functioning. But the heat still worked, and the backup power hadn't failed yet. The human, whose name was Elias Rourke, placed the baby near the heater, the thermal pod still glowing faintly. He wrapped Zria in insulated blankets, fingers quick and steady despite the adrenaline still shaking him. Hours passed. He melted snow for water, gave her nutrient gel, and waited. When she finally opened her eyes, there was no storm outside. Only soft, endless white. You sang, Elias said quietly. I thought I was hallucinating, but I followed it. I found you. Zria stared at the human. Her voice came in a whisper. You saved us. He nodded, gaze shifting to the baby. She's stable now. But she was close. Zria sat up slowly. What were you doing here? Survey mission. We were monitoring tectonic activity. Everyone else left when the last shuttle arrived. I volunteered to finish the scans. Been alone for a week. She looked at him, truly looked. Not just at the face of the species once considered primitive by the Solari Empire, but at the soul behind the weathered eyes. You heard a dying mother's song and came running. Didn't seem like a choice, he said softly. Chapter 5. The Naming. Days passed. Zria regained her strength. Her daughter, who she named Kaylee, began to cry, drink, and even laugh. In the warmth of that tiny station, the unlikely trio lived like ghosts in a forgotten world. Zria told him about the crash, her exile from her clan, punished for loving someone they didn't approve of, for refusing to be bonded through arranged genetics. Elias listened, nodding, silent when she cried, never pushing when she stopped mid-story. And then one night, as a false aurora danced over the sky from the outpost's viewpane, Zria sang again. This time, it wasn't a lullaby of grief. It was a melody of healing. Elias didn't understand the words, but he felt them. I've never heard anything like that, he whispered. It's not just sound, she replied. It's memory. Emotion encoded into pitch. It's how our ancestors spoke to the stars. You made the stars cry, he smiled. She looked at him. Would you like to hold her? He froze, then gently reached out. Kaylee settled into his arms like she belonged there. Zria watched them, her heart too full to speak. In a corner of the galaxy where cold could claim anything, warmth was returning. Chapter 6. The Choice. They couldn't stay in the outpost forever. Supplies were dwindling. The emergency beacon Elias had activated hadn't brought any rescue yet. Zria stared at the communicator. I could call my people again, she said. Elias looked up. Would they accept you back? She hesitated. Maybe. For Kaylee's sake. But not us. I see. Silence fell again, thick and brittle. But, she added, her voice firmer now, Kaylee deserves more than survival. She deserves love. Safety. A home. Elias nodded. You're strong enough to do this. Whatever choice you make, I'll support it. What if my choice is to go with you, she asked. He blinked. What? I've seen how you look at her. Like she's yours. And you didn't hesitate to save us. That kind of man. I trust. He stepped closer. You sure? No. But I feel it. The way you stayed. The way you held her. I was taught that humans were impulsive, emotional. But now I know, some of you are just brave. Kaylee cooed in her sleep, warm between them. Chapter 7. Rescue. Took 5 more days. When the Alliance beacon finally arrived, the storm had faded into a quiet hush over the plains. A massive dropship hovered over the research station, deploying a medical team and diplomats. Zria stood with Kaylee in her arms, Elias at her side. Solari envoy stepped forward. Zria of Clan Valari. Your exile has been reviewed. Because of your survival and your child, the High Council offers you reintegration. Zria's eyes were steady. No. The envoy blinked. No. I've made a different path. I don't need a council's permission to raise my child in love. I choose him. She turned to Elias, hand outstretched. He took it. Kaylee laughed as if sensing the future.